أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من بالمصري. Welcome to a new episode of Bilmasri. So what we have today is an excerpt of a small work of fiction. And the story I picked today is the very famous story of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. After that, I'll tell you something about relative pronouns in Masri. And I should really say the one relative pronoun. Relative pronouns, they're the little words that mean which, that, or who, as in the book that I've read, the people who live there, etc. In Fusha, you've learned a multitude of words in singular, dual, plural, feminine, masculine. So we had alladhi, allati, alladhani, allatan, and of course allazain, allatain, alladhina, allati. And then also related to that is ma and man, in the sense of the thing which, ma, and the one who, man. They are the words that already include the noun in them, as in فهمت ما قلت, I understood what you said. Or the proverb من جد وجد, من جد وجد, he who strives will find what they're looking for. And speaking of proverbs, at the end of the episode today, I will talk you through a few popular Egyptian proverbs that use the relative pronoun. And that's because there are so many proverbs that contain the relative pronoun. In the following bit of Ali Baba, the relative pronoun comes up 3 times. See if you can figure out what the word is. In the blog post, you'll find, as usual, the Masri version alongside the Fusha, as well as a link to a kind of synopsis to the Ali Baba story in English, in case you need a reminder what it's about. I'll start with an introduction in Arabic, as well as a clarification of a few key terms. النهاردة هنحكي جزء من حكاية علي بابا وال40 حرامي. بعض الكلمات المهمة. Some key terms. الغابة forest. أخشاب plural of خشب is wood. صخرة is a rock or a boulder. And finally كهف. This sounds a bit like the English equivalent, which is cave. كهف cave. So يلا نبتدي. علي بابا وال40 حرامي. كان يا مكان في بلاد الفرس تاجر غني عنده ولدين، واحد اسمه قاسم والتاني علي بابا. بعد موت أبوهم قاسم استولى على كل الفلوس اللي سابها لهم وبقى تاجر غني. أما علي بابا فكان كل يوم الصبح يروح الغابة مع حماره يقطع الأخشاب وبعدين يرجع ويبيعها في المدينة عشان يشتري أكل لمراته وولاده. في يوم من الأيام راح علي بابا للغابة وفجأة سمع أصوات بتقرب وتعلى. خاف واستخبى ورا صخرة صغيرة هو وحماره. علي بابا شاف 40 راجل فوق الحصنة بتاعتهم. لما وصلوا لصخرة كبيرة في وسط الغابة، قائدهم نادى بأعلى صوت: افتح يا سمسم. فجأة الصخرة اتحركت وظهر وراها كهف ضلمة. دخل القائد ووراه الرجالة بعد ما ربطوا الحصنة في الأشجار اللي جنب الكهف، والبوابة قفلت وراهم. فضل الرجالة في الكهف شوية وبعدين خرجوا، وعلي بابا سمع قائدهم بينادي بأعلى صوته: اقفل يا سمسم. وركبوا الحصنة ومشيوا. وقرر علي بابا يدخل الكهف، فوقف قدام الصخرة ونادى: افتح يا سمسم. فالبوابة اتفتحت مرة تانية. دخل علي بابا وما صدقش عينيه، لأنه شاف في الكهف اللي ما شافوش طول عمره. That's it. Now, if this was an original 1001 Nights story, I might have stopped with the words وأدرك شهرزاد الصباح فسكتت عن الكلام المباح. Literally, and morning caught Shahrazad, so she stopped the permitted speech. And it's how the 1001 Nights stories are usually interrupted at a moment of great suspense, at the break of dawn when Shahrazad decides to stop telling the story. But this is not actually a story from 1001 Nights originally. If you read the blog post, there's more information on that. So hopefully you got the gist of what happened, even if some words are unknown to you. Now, the relative pronoun, did you manage to identify it? So for all the particles I mentioned earlier, الذي, التي, الذين, etc., we just have one word in Masri, which is illi, illi, commonly written alif, lam, lam, ya. We heard it 3 times. كل الفلوس اللي سابها لهم. كل الفلوس اللي سابها لهم. All the money which he left for them. الأشجار اللي جنب الكهف. The trees next to the cave. شاف في الكهف اللي ما شافوش طول عمره. He saw in the cave what he had never seen in his life. Now, like I said, illi is a word that you come across in a huge number of proverbs. So why not look at a few of these? I will put a longer list in the blog post if you're interested. The first proverb is الباب اللي يجيلك منه الريح سده واستريح. الباب اللي يجيلك منه الريح سده واستريح. So a very literal translation of that would be the door which the wind comes through, block it and relax. So block the door that brings the wind in, and that means something like if anything is causing you trouble, just shut it out of your life. The next proverb is one that I really like. It is اللي اتلسع من الشوربة ينفخ في الزبادي. اللي اتلسع من الشوربة ينفخ في الزبادي. Illi here means the person who, he who. He who has burned his tongue on soup will blow on the yogurt. And yogurt is obviously something that never gets hot, so we always eat yogurt cold. And if someone has had a really bad experience, so they burn their tongue on soup, they will become extra cautious, so they would even blow on the yogurt before eating it. اللي اتلسع من الشوربة ينفخ في الزبادي. Another proverb with illi. كل واحد ينام على الجنب اللي يريحه. كل واحد ينام على الجنب اللي يريحه. Each person sleeps on the side that they find comfortable. And that is a proverb you would use if you want to say, don't interfere in other people's life. Don't tell anyone what they should do. The next proverb is أدعي على ابني واكره اللي يقول أمين. أدعي على ابني واكره اللي يقول أمين. This means I may curse my son. أدعي على ابني. أدعي, you may know the word to mean to pray, but when I say أدعي على, it means to sort of curse someone, as opposed to أدعي له, which is to pray for someone. So it's like praying against someone. أدعي على ابني, I curse my son. واكره اللي يقول أمين, and I hate anyone who would say amen to that. And that's a very interesting proverb. It means like, I may be very angry at my son, but if anyone agrees with me, I hate that person. And very often you'd hear that in the context of, for example, Egyptians criticizing their own country. And they feel like it's fine for Egyptians to criticize their own country, but if a foreigner comes along and says the same thing, then that's not acceptable. Then أدعي على ابني واكره اللي يقول أمين. And the final proverb today is اللي إيده في المية مش زي اللي إيده في النار. اللي إيده في المية مش زي اللي إيده في النار. He whose hand is in the water is not like he whose hand is in the fire. A very literal translation. And what that means is that people cannot understand each other's situations. Like, your hand is in cool water, you're not suffering. But my hand is in fire, I'm really suffering. So don't pretend to know what I'm going through. اللي إيده في المية مش زي اللي إيده في النار. So this is a selection of proverbs that use illi, and like I said, there's so many more, and I will put a list of them in the blog post if you'd like to check them out with a literal translation. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you next time.